Welcome back to the show, everybody. It's a huge week. Ding here, and we're going to break down every game for this week 14, the final week of the fantasy regular season. Hopefully, you're not in a must-win situation, but if you are, got some tough choices to make this week. 6 teams on the bye. Wow, there's a lot going on. We're going to break down every game for you. Hopefully, make your job a little easier. It's just me tonight. No Uncle T is here, but I am drinking some of this fine Hearts Creed bourbon that he brought me. Stand by, it's got a little kick. Smooth. Oh, there's that kick. Anyway, we're going to start off with the injuries before we get into the games. All right, who's out this week? Goddard's out. He actually went to IR. Walker is out. Hopefully he grabbed Charbonnet, and you saw my X feed on that. Means is out. Rashawn Johnson's out. And Tillman's out. Now, we still had Neighbors didn't practice. He's questionable. Harbin didn't practice, but we didn't get an update on those guys. Limited this week was McConkey. He's questionable. Still no update. Mostert, Palmer, Irving, Evans, Madison, Pickens, Juwan Johnson, Coleman, Kincaid, DJ Moore, and Swift. All these guys are limited. They all have varying degrees of whether or not they're going to play or not. Most of them are questionable. I'm really worried about the whole Swift, DJ Moore with Rashawn Johnson out. I think Swift is going to play. You really have to monitor the injury report 90 minutes prior. They're probably going to hold on to this until game day. Now, we had some full practices. Some guys are definitely going to play. CeeDee Lamb's going to play. Ferguson's going to play. Jamar Chase is going to play. Kendrick Miller's going to play. And then haven't seen any bad news on guys like Ja'Tavion Sanders or Coker, who's doubtful, but he's still doubtful. So we're going to need more updates. You're definitely going to have to check Sunday morning, find out what's going on, because these guys, who knows? And it's late in the season, so even though you think they might be playing, they might not. Another plug to look at my X feed, because I'll give you the updates 90 minutes prior to the game. This is what I do. I try to make it easy on you. Okay, let's talk about the Sunday games. Get into the first one in the early window, Jags-Titans. The Jags are going to go pass heavy. Lawrence is out. It's Mac Jones, Bigsby, and Etienne. They're almost unstartable here. Honestly, I have Etienne, and I have had him on the bench now for several weeks. I can't see starting him or Bigsby unless you don't have any other options. Brian Thomas and Washington, they're both solid starts. I think they're going to get double-digit targets just like they got last week. Ingram, he's a risky start, but he could give you a decent PPR day. I mean, especially if he gets a touchdown, but he's not getting any red zone looks lately. On the Titans, you're going to start Ridley, Pollard, and Akine. Yeah, you need to start Westbrook Akine. I mean, he's got 8 touchdowns on the season. He's like in the top 5. It's the last week of the season. If you're on the bubble, you need some spark. You need something to get you over the hump. Maybe you're like, forecasted to be 7 points down. Akine, touchdown. Come on. It's coming. All right, let's move on to the Jets-Dolphins. Big news there is Hall is out. So Allen, he's a decent start here. He's going to get probably 15 touches. The Dolphins, they're pretty stout against the run, so I wouldn't expect too much. Sweater Vest, a.k.a. Rodgers, he's not a good start here, but Wilson obviously is a must. He's the alpha. Lazard, there's talk of him being back, but he's not really startable. I mean, Rodgers isn't really throwing the ball that much anyway. Adams, if you're going to start him, he's touchdown dependent. He's only getting like a couple looks a game, so there's a risky play there. For Miami, you're going to start all the premium names. Tyreek Hill, he's a boomer bust. He's on my team. I'm going to be playing him this week, but I'm not feeling really good about it. Jonah Smith, if he's on your team, dude's a touchdown hog right now. He is a must start. Let's talk the revenge game. We've got Kirk Cousins going into Minnesota to prove he's the man. So you know he's going to be flinging the ball everywhere. I think London gets double-digit targets. Mooney, he gets his same, 4 to 6, maybe 6 to 8 kind of targets. I don't think he has a big day. London, I think, is going to have the better PPR day out of all of them. Bijan Robinson, he's been playing really well lately. I expect him to get plenty of touches. You're obviously going to start him. Pitts, he's touchdown dependent, although hopefully he's going to get a little bit more action. I suspect Cousins is really going to try to air it out. On the flip side, for Minnesota, you're going to play all the starters. Aaron Jones is going to have a much better week than he did last week. I mean, he's usually good for at least 15 touches per week, so don't sweat that. Darnold, that's a risky play. If you've got nobody else, I get it. But Atlanta's actually pretty decent against the pass, so I don't really think he's going to be the man today. Justin Jefferson, he's going to get his normal looks. He's been getting a little bit more lately, but Atlanta's really good against the outside receivers. I think Addison is going to have a lot of success underneath. I've said that before, and I know he hasn't come through for me, but I mean, when you look at what McConkey did last week to Atlanta, I think Addison can do the same thing. And then, of course, TJ, he's huge. You're going to play TJ. He's really coming on strong lately. Next game is going to be the Saints versus the Giants. So the Saints go into New York. As long as the weather's not too terrible, I think the Saints are going to win this game. New York, the only guy I would play there is Tracy and maybe Neighbors, although he's a little bit banged up. There's really a question mark as to whether he's going to play. Drew Lock is going to start for them, so it's not a huge advantage, but Neighbors is going to get the looks if he does play. And then Tracy, he'll be good for 15 to 20 touches. I don't think that anyone else on the team is playable. On the flip side, the Saints, you're going to play all the starters. Obviously, Taysom Hill is out. So who do you play in his absence? Hopefully you picked up Juwan Johnson. I know Foster Moreau is out there. I still think Juwan Johnson is going to get more targets, but Foster Moreau might have more red zone looks. Johnson still does get a red zone look here or there. In the end, I like Johnson over Moreau. It's a tough call, but if you've got Johnson, I would play him in this game. And I know one of the questions on your mind is, do I play MVS? I think you do. Again, it's the last week of the regular season. You might need that extra little touchdown to win your game. Derek Carr only looks at MVS a couple times a game. I know. So it's a little bit of a faith-based kind of, you really got to believe in it. But MVS has 8 receptions and 4 touchdowns. So he's got a 50% chance of catching a TD. Name me another player who has that out there. Okay, Akine. You got me on that one. Moving on. All right, let's talk the $3 million game. And if you haven't seen the news on this one, somebody bet $3 million on the Eagles to beat the Panthers money line. Now, the Eagles are, they're favored by 13.5. It's easy money, right? Well, what happens if, Barkley gets hurt and Hurts gets hurt and half the team, catches a cold or something? I mean, if you got $3 million, I guess, go for it. More scotch for me anyway. For the Eagles, you're going to play all the starters. It's a no-brainer. Devonta Smith is back, which is great. I think that really helps Hurts. He should have a little bit more passing yards than he's had lately. I still think he probably gets a tush-push touchdown in this one. Barkley, obviously going to be a monster. You're going to start everybody on the Eagles. Goddard is out. If you need a tight end, Calcaterra with the 2 primary wide receivers back for the Eagles, it's really not a good play. Calcaterra just doesn't get enough looks unless Devonta Smith is out. So I would not play Calcaterra. For the Panthers, Bryce Young, he's been coming on as of late. I really like how Thielen is playing. So if you got Thielen, you're going to want to start him here. I think he's going to command at least 8 to 10 targets. Coker is doubtful, so the loss of Coker means he's going to get even more targets. The Eagles are really tough against the pass, but Thielen is a wily veteran. He knows how to get in under the zone. He can find the open place, and I hope that Bryce Young looks for him. Obviously, if you have Hubbard, you're going to play him too. Leggett, he's a risky play. Bryce, if you're going to start him, it's a risky start. If you don't have anybody else, this is one I would sit him on because, the Eagles defense is really coming on lately. This is not going to be a big game for him. But I think, like I said, PPR, Thielen, Hubbard, these are great matchups for them. All right, let's look at the Browns versus the Steelers. The Browns are going into Pittsburgh this time. They only played 2 weeks ago. In that game, Winston had some real trouble throwing the ball. He still found Judy. Judy's a great, excellent start here. Nick Chubb, he had some trouble in that game. I'm not sure that Winston is the best start here. If you have someone else that has a much better matchup, I would play them. I know he's coming off of the 500-yard ridiculousness, 2 pick sixes, but I just don't think this is the Winston start that you want to go after. For the Steelers, you're going to start Najee. You'll probably play Warren. Hopefully he gets some PPR, but they both kind of struggled. Again, the Cleveland defense against the run is really strong. Pickens, he's questionable going in this game, and it's a legit questionable because I think he picked up a new injury on Friday. I'd be careful here. Obviously, you're going to watch the injury wire, but if he doesn't go, they're really going to have to rely on Najee and Warren. And then I just don't think Mike Williams is ready for the show. Calvin Austin, he's going to get more targets. So if you got him and Pickens is out, you have to play Austin in this particular case. But then if Pickens is out, I don't see Russell Wilson as a great play here. I think they keep it on the ground. Yeah, I think Austin gets some more PPR, but this is going to be a tough game. So take a look at the injuries just prior to the game. I think that's really going to make some big decisions for you, but we're going to have to wait because we just don't have any updates right now. In the last game in the early window, you've got the Raiders going into Tampa. Obviously, the Raiders aren't playing for anything. Myers was a little bit questionable to start the week. He's healthier and going to play this time. O'Connell's going to be the starter. And you saw how much he got peppered last time. It was one of Myers' best games. So you're going to fire up Myers. I don't think O'Connell is a start here. As far as the running back committee is concerned, Madison might come back. Zamir White, I don't think he's going to play. And then you've got all the other running backs that they're just not really sure what they want to do with. Honestly, I would stay away from all the running backs. I know you could find, 5 to 7 points PPR, maybe get a lucky touchdown out of one of them, but who's it going to be, especially if Madison comes back? It's just a game to stay away from. Myers, Bowers, those are the two premium starts for the Raiders. On the Bucs side, the big problem is Irving. Now, he had a monster game, 150 plus yards last week. The only problem is he's been questionable all week, limited, no practice. How legitimately sore is he? I hope he comes back. I have Irving on a couple of teams. If he doesn't come back, who's it going to be? You've got the combination of White and Tucker. Between the tackles, it'll probably be Tucker. Outside the tackles, PPR, it's White. Between the two of them, they're equal chance of getting a touchdown. It's going to be really wait and see on this. If Irving's out, that makes both of them more of a start. If Irving is in, I still think White is a premium play here, but then Tucker would just be, a lucky touchdown dependent kind of guy. For Mayfield, he's healthy. Evans is healthy. You fire both of those guys up. Cade Otton, unfortunately, seems to be thrown by the wayside. If you have another option, you probably want to play him. This is one of those ones where if you picked up Juwan Johnson, Cade Otton, I'd probably lean towards Juwan Johnson. That's just where I'm at. And I have Otton on a couple of my teams. All right, in the first game in the late window, we're going to talk about Bills-Rams. There's really no surprises here. Every one of the starters you're going to play. Now, for the Bills, Coleman's questionable, Kincaid's questionable, so you really need to double check their status prior to the game and have an option available. They're in the late window, so remember to move those players if you're in their starting lineup to your flex positions so that you have some options later and see what you've got available to you. For the Bills, I expect, obviously it's not a snowball game, so that's good. So there'll be some more throwing. Cooper's probably a decent play. Shakir's a decent play from the running perspective. Cook should get plenty. I don't think Ray Davis is going to have a big game like he did last time. So obviously they went run heavy. Allen's going to get his. So they're all premium starts this week. And the Rams give up a lot of points. On the flip side, the Rams, you're going to play Kyron Williams. You're going to play Nakua. You're going to play Kupp. I don't think you play any of the tight ends for LA. And then Stafford. Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence. The Bills have been playing some pretty decent defense lately. If you have some better options, you could probably go that route. They've really been leaning on Kyron, but he's Stafford's good for a couple of touchdowns in this game more than likely, especially at home. No weather to worry about. Okay, in the Bears-Niners game, this one's got some craziness. Obviously, injuries are just completely all over the map here for both these teams. The Bears, they're already without Rashawn Johnson. Swift, he's legit questionable, meaning that Homer could potentially be a backup here, somebody you could pick up and play. More on that here in a second. Keenan Allen, he's healthy. Well, that's good. DJ Moore, he's questionable. Adunzi, he's okay. So, obviously, if you got the healthy starter, good on you. And Keenan Allen's going to be a monster in this game. You definitely got to play him. From a running back perspective, if Swift is out, Homer is going to be in there. But ease up here for a second, okay? Because Homer, I don't think he's going to get a whole lot of carries here. It's not like he gets a whole lot of reps in practice anyway. I see them giving the ball more to Caleb Williams or just dumping the ball underneath. I'm not sure that Homer gets, the 15 to 20 touches that you're really hoping for. Honestly, during the games each week, Swift and Rashawn Johnson, they don't get a whole lot of carries as it is. So it's not like Homer's going to step in and get 15 to 20 here. You need to temper your expectations here. If you've got somebody who's better or a starter, who's going to give you 15 to 20 touches, you definitely want to go that route. Caleb Williams, it's the Niners. They get their premier safety back. I'm not sure this is the defense you want to run him against, but he's proved me wrong. In this particular game, if Homer is his running back, he's probably going to get more rushing yards, so that leads to more points. If DJ Moore is out, that takes away a big downfield weapon. And Adunzi, he's still a rookie. He's still coming on. And Keenan Allen obviously is good underneath. You could see more targets for like Kmet in this particular game. So Kmet could be a questionable play here, probably touchdown dependent. But if DJ Moore is out, I think Kmet could see a little bit more. Again, Caleb Williams, risky play here. On the flip side for the Niners, the big news for them is obviously the loss of CMC and Mason. Guerrero is the guy. He's guaranteed to get 20 touches. I don't care if they're even behind. He's going to get a lot of touches, okay? You're going to play all the normal starters here. They should be moderately successful against Chicago's defense. I think you're going to get good returns off of all of them. So it's kind of a no brainer when it comes to this. Moving on to the Seattle Cardinals game, the Seahawks are moving into Arizona. They just played a couple of weeks ago. It was a 16-6 ball game, and Arizona really held them back. I think you see a similar game this week. Arizona's defense has been playing really strong, and they're at home. So there's a lot of pluses here for them. JSN for the Seahawks, normally a target hog, but last week you only got 4. I think that reverses itself. I think he's back to 9 to 10 targets. Metcalf, 9 to 10 targets here. They're going to try to push the ball. Arizona, stellar against the run. And the big news, obviously, is Walker's out. So if you were lucky enough to pick up Charbonnet, he's guaranteed to get 15 to 20 touches, but it is Arizona. This could be rough sledding for him. 46 yards off of like 15 carries, maybe 50, 60 yards total. But I think he could squeeze out a touchdown here in a really close game. The Cardinals, you're going to start Connor, although you could easily be disappointed here. Harrison, again, he's touchdown dependent. McBride is the premium play this week of any player I can possibly think of. Seattle is worst against the tight ends, and McBride is potentially the best tight end in the NFL right now. 15 targets, 12 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown. I don't know. Those just sound like reasonable numbers to me. Kyler Murray, he's not going to have a great game. If you have a better backup, somebody facing an easier defense, I think that's probably a good play, is to just sit him this week. But he'll probably provide you at least one touchdown on the ground and maybe one passing to McBride. For Sunday Night Football, we've got the Chargers and the Chiefs. Chiefs, number 1 in the AFC, hosting one of the best defenses out there, although the Chargers have not been showing it lately. Chiefs have a pretty good defense on their own right. That's one of the reasons why they're 11-1, obviously. So I think the Chargers, if they want to be successful in this game, they're going to need to throw the ball. The problem is they don't really have premium wide receivers. McConkey is awesome. Don't get me wrong. He's going to command another 12 to 15 targets. If I'm the Chiefs, I'm going to double team that kid, because Quentin Johnston, between his drops and the fact that he can't seem to find the ball lately, I don't think he is going to be a startable player for you here. You know, the era of him getting a touchdown every game is over. I could be wrong here, but Johnston has not been playing at a high level. Disley, he has not been getting the targets that you would hope that he did when he was, in the first 8 weeks of the season. Expect from Disley 3 to 5 targets, maybe 6, 50 yards, and hopefully a lucky touchdown. But he's touchdown dependent. And Edwards is just not a great running back right now. They're not getting the holes for him. Between him and Vidal, they're just not creating it. I think the Chiefs are going to win fairly easily at home. Again, it is tough to beat the Chiefs, especially with the way they've been playing. And I'm sure everyone else is thinking, yeah, especially with the referees on their team. Whatever. I know everybody talks about the referees and the Chiefs. I do too. I think the Chargers are going to have a rough game here. So if you're starting Herbert, temper your expectations. Maybe a touchdown on the ground, maybe a touchdown through the air, probably an interception. It's going to be a rough game. On the Chiefs side, you have Pacheco with a 50-50 split with Hunt last week. I think Pacheco demands even more of a timeshare. So if you're playing Hunt, that's a risky play this week. Again, Mahomes loves the tight ends. He's going to be throwing to Noah Gray, Kelsey. I think they're both plays this week. Kelsey's been getting more love lately, but Noah Gray, he can always pop off with 1 or 2 touchdowns because Kelsey demands so much in coverage. Hopkins, he's not getting a whole lot of targets, but he gets the red zone look, so you're obviously going to start him. Worthy has been coming on lately. He's not getting the touchdowns. Yeah, I know what you're going to say. Well, he did last week. Yeah, I got it. But Worthy still is not showing me enough consistency. Although at this point, you've got to take some chances. Hopefully Worthy can get a touchdown here. But the Chargers are a legit defense. I know they haven't been playing like it lately. Be careful if you're going to play Worthy. They have the defense to keep him contained. Now, can they contain all the weapons? No. That's why I think the tight ends are the premium play for Kansas City. And of course, Mahomes, you're going to start him. Do I think he gets 4 touchdowns? No, I don't. 250 yards passing, 2 touchdowns seems about right on Sunday Night Football. And then finally, let's talk Monday Night Football. The Bengals go into Dallas. This is going to be a huge scoring game. Neither of these guys can play defense. Yeah, I know Michael Parsons is there and Diggs and everything. I got that. But this is going to be a huge game. The over-under in Vegas is 49.5. The Bengals, they score a ton of points. They score over 24 a game, but they love to give up, close to 30 a game, it seems. I mean, look at their record. They're 4-8. even though Joe Burrow is like a top 5 quarterback. It's crazy. You're going to start everybody on the Bengals that you normally would. There's really no question there. It's going to be a big night for them. Expect that. On the Cowboys side, you're going to start CeeDee Lamb, even though he's nursing the shoulder. Rico Dowdle, that's a good play. Cooper Rush, he should throw the ball quite a bit. I can't say that he's going to get the touchdowns. That's really a question mark. I hope you have a better option, but he's going to be slinging the ball out there because it's going to be a high-scoring game. Rico Dowdle, he might get 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, a touchdown. I'll tell you though, Brandon Cooks has the potential for another touchdown here. He got a red zone look last week in his first game back. He's going to get even healthier, more familiar with the playbook, and he's going to build more of a rapport with Cooper Rush. I think Brandon Cooks is startable in this game, especially if you know it's going to be this high score, especially if CeeDee Lamb is playing hurt. If he re-injures it again, Cooks is getting all the looks. Well, everybody, that's it. There's your Week 14 preview. My Scotch glass is empty, and we don't have any more to talk about. Good luck in the final week of the regular season. Like I always say, if you're in doubt, go with your gut. Look at the matchups. Look at the weather. Definitely double check that injury report. It's going to be huge, especially with a couple of games that we talked about. Now, before we sign off, I want to give a shout out to our men and women in uniform who protect the freedoms we hold dear. Thank you for your service and sacrifice. You guys are awesome. Finally, thanks for listening. You guys are awesome. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and follow us on X, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you can stay up to date on our latest content. And until then, remember, established dominance isn't just a catchphrase, it's a commitment. Are you ready?